Well, how heartbreaking is that? Watching Grigor Dimitrov retire again from a match, this time up 2-0 on Jannik Sinner. I don't even know, what to really say, but I'll try my best in this video, which is a preview of the quarterfinals where Jannik Sinner will have gone through to play Ben Shelton, although he would admit, and he kind of said that, really Dimitrov deserved to be there. But heartbreak for Dimitrov, saved Sinner. And we're going to try and break down the great match between Djokovic, Minaur. We'll look at all the other matchups in the quarterfinals and talk about how people got there. But for now, prayers up for Dimitrov. That's just so sad. And we will just see, hopefully his body can figure it out in the future because he's so good. And he showed that today still. But anyways, this is the slice presented by Betway. Let's get into it. Well, it's really just a movie that's set on replay right now. Grigor Dimitrov has retired from his last 5 Grand Slam matches going back to last year's Wimbledon. In the 4th round last year in Wimbledon against Daniil Medvedev, US Open 2024 in the quarterfinals versus Tiafoe, 2025 Australian Open and French Open in the first round, groin injury, then leg injury, and now today he tears his pec. It looked like after being up solidly against Jannik Sinner. So I just don't know how does this get better? I was watching the match today, watched him go up 2-0, and I thought to myself, Sinner could come. Let's be fair. Sinner could have come back from this, even if Dimitrov was healthy. Jannik Sinner's the #1 player in the world. He's done it before, come back from 2-0 down in Grand Slams, did it in a Grand Slam final. So credit to where credit's due. But I was thinking the main threat here for Dimitrov is his body failing him going forward. And that's what happened. And I'm not saying I was right in that. Wasn't going to write anything about that or post anything about it like some other people did. But yeah, that's just what you fear watching it when you've seen it happen 4 times in a row in a Grand Slam, and it happens here again at Wimbledon. So you just got to feel so bad for the guy. So leave your support and comments and kind of thoughts on Dimitrov down in the comment section below. But yeah, really tough watch on center court today in him versus Sinner. So let's put that up now on the screen here. You can see the stats on the right hand side. So let's go through those. So through the 2 sets and a bit, it was 2-all in the 3rd set, and Dimitrov was still playing great tennis there. He had 14 aces, won 84% of his first serves, won 50% of his second serves, won 3 out of the 5 break points that he produced, and he had 36 winners to 22 unforced errors. Just an incredibly high level of tennis from Grigor Dimitrov that was halted by injury, and that's super, super unfortunate. So yeah, to turn our attention to Jannik Sinner, because this is a huge story. Obviously, Sinner goes down 2-0, comes through, but obviously he didn't really turn the match around. He got saved by the bell in a sense. Not saying that he couldn't have. So Sinner fans, I'm not attacking Sinner at all. He was in a tough spot. That's undeniable. And now we're going to go look at his stats, but in general, grass so far has been his least successful surface. Yes, he won Halle last year, but he's never made the final of Wimbledon. He made the final of the French Open, and he's obviously won his 3 majors on hard courts. So this is his least comfortable surface, and that's not abnormal for young players. And it's because of the movement differences. He's talked about that, and his coach Darren Cahill has talked about learning to slide on the grass is different than the clay or the hard courts. And the way that the ball bounces. There was some of the returns that Dimitrov made today to his feet. He just couldn't get into position fast enough, and he would literally shank them or miss the ball almost. All these little things that you learn the more you play on grass, and it's such a short season, you just don't really get experience very quickly in your career. So Sinner going forward, the question is, the next question is actually fairly easy to answer. I would say Ben Shelton. We'll get to that, but looking at his stats from today, he hit 58% of his first serves in. That's fine. That's a little low, but that's fine. He won 82% of his first serve points, 44 on a second serve. So 82 is great. Came to the net, won 10 out of 14 points there. Great. Dimitrov has also came 29 times to the net, won 20 of those points. That's incredible. The break points, 1 out of 2. But yeah, a lot of unforced errors, 21 unforced errors to only 19 winners. But again, I think playing a lot of other players, he would have been up in that match, but Dimitrov was playing at such a high level. So adds to the disappointment for sure. But Sinner going forward, he's going to be play Ben Shelton in the next round. And I just looked it up, and Ben Shelton hasn't won a set on Jannik Sinner since 2023. In the last 12 sets they've played have all gone the way of Jannik Sinner. So if we're going to put the draws up on the screen here, which I will do in 1 second. Yeah, here are the quarterfinal draws. And we got Sinner versus Ben Shelton, Flavio Caboli versus Novak Djokovic, 2 Italians in the top half of the quarterfinals, Taylor Fritz versus Karen Khachanov, and Cam Norrie versus Carlos Alcaraz. So on the top half, Sinner versus Shelton, I don't feel, if I was a Sinner fan, I wouldn't feel super worried about this. I don't feel in the rallies that Ben has enough still to really hurt Sinner, but like Grigor Dimitrov is an unbelievably good player on grass, and the way he can slice, the way he can keep the ball low, the way he can play with variety in a smart way, obviously affected Sinner today. Ben Shelton can play in variety as well. He's got the bigger serve. He's got more power. But those things don't necessarily hurt Sinner. So he hasn't had any success. They played last year at Wimbledon, went Sinner's way, straight sets, 7-6, or sorry, 24 Wimbledon, 6-2, 6-4, 7-6. So yeah, Shelton could get him if Sinner doesn't bring a high level, but I feel very confident if I'm Sinner versus in that Shelton matchup. Let's talk about Minaur Djokovic, because that was a great match, really. I watched most of that match, and Minaur comes out, gets the first set. Hard conditions, windy conditions, and I think a lot of this, I was reading Matt Rackett's post on X before this, so go check that out. But the reason that he was talking about the serve of Djokovic, and that's pretty clear why he's been able to be so good late in his career, is because his serve has gotten better and better. And especially at Wimbledon, he's able to use the slider out wide, which causes so many problems for people. But with the windier conditions, he wasn't hitting his serve as accurately, which that post shows. And therefore, Minaur is able to get into these points a lot better, in a lot better positions getting into these points. So if you look at the rally breakdowns, Djokovic won the majority of points 4 shots or under, but then over that, the rallies which historically Djokovic has done great at, the longer rallies, Minaur actually was dominating Djokovic in the longer rallies, because Minaur hits a flat ball, so speedy, able to use his slice well, which he was. So he's able to essentially keep the ball low and fast through the court against Djokovic, which causes him serious problems with his age and just how good Minaur is. So it was interesting as the match went on. Djokovic was able to find his serve, but the main thing as far as like strategy cap or execution in this match was, once the second, third, and fourth set got, Minaur played great sets, especially the third set, and I think the fourth set he was up as well. Once it got to the tail end of those sets, the pressure moments, he was not able to find the level that Djokovic was, and that's just been Djokovic's career in a nutshell. But he used to beat people having a much higher level the whole match, but now he can not even have the higher level most of the match and still find the ways to win those matches in the biggest moments, which Minaur was not able to do. And that's an area that he's going to have to get better at if he wants to win matches like that against Djokovic before he retires. So if we just look at the stats here in general for Djokovic, first serve in 66, first serve points 169, pretty good. Break points 6 out of 13. Minaur broke Djokovic 6 times, which is, I think, like an all-time record at Wimbledon potentially. A little bit messy from both guys. I think the conditions played into that. 38-44, 38 winners, 44 unforced errors for Djokovic. And yeah, Minaur played a good match, so that's a confident showing from him, and that's the level of tennis he needs to play if he wants to beat Djokovic. He just needs to be more clutch and find a better level in the bigger moments, because he wasn't able to do that. And you got to be able to be clutch to beat the king. You want to come for the king, you best not miss. So yeah, that's that match. But we've got now Flavio Caboli versus Novak Djokovic, which is an awesome matchup because Flavio Caboli is an unbelievable athlete. He's a star. We talked to him in Montreal when he was there, and it was so cool to he's English isn't great, but he's clearly got the look. He's got the star power, I think, in it as an Italian. They did play once before in Shanghai, Djokovic and Caboli, and Djokovic won 6-1, 6-2. So I think the nerve factor will definitely be play here because this is Caboli's first quarterfinals. This is Djokovic's like 10 millionth. So it's a 16th quarterfinal just at Wimbledon, which is crazy. So yeah, Djokovic is going to have the experience card big time. But if Caboli can get his nerves out early through either playing really good or playing really bad or something happening and just play tennis, like I think he's got the athleticism to play with him. He's got the power from the baseline. He's got a great forehand, and he's a gamer. So, but there's going to be the levels to the game of slicing, moving Caboli around that Djokovic is going to bring that Caboli's probably never seen on the surface. So we'll have to see how he handles it. But Djokovic definitely the favorite for me. But it's going to be exciting to see how Caboli can handle it. So yeah, on the top, if we're looking at the draw on the top as far as predictions, I'm taking Sinner over Shelton and Djokovic over Caboli. I don't think that would shock anyone, would it? But I'm predicting a semifinal of Sinner Djokovic, and that's going to get real interesting and real hard to predict because of a multitude of different factors. So we'll see when we get to that. But just from Betway, the odds for the match right now for Sinner versus Shelton, they got Sinner as the favorite at minus 650, and they got plus 450 odds on Shelton. So pretty strong favorite for Sinner. Djokovic, Caboli, they got Djokovic at minus 1200, and they got Caboli at plus 700. So even bigger odds for Djokovic to win there. As we go to the bottom on Betway, we've got we've got Khachanov versus Fritz. They've got Fritz as the favorite at minus 334 and Karen Khachanov at plus 250 as the underdog. So not super high odds on him. So he's the underdog, but they're giving him the respect. Cameron Norrie, another story, plus 1100 odds. Carlos minus 3300 to win. So yeah, on the bottom, Fritz Khachanov, Khachanov also has like more experience at majors than Fritz does. Fritz has made a final. Khachanov never has, but Khachanov is like the ultimate pro. So that's going to be, potentially tough match for Fritz, but you would think with the age factor going Fritz's way, he's going to have a bit of an edge, but Khachanov and Fritz, they both have huge serves, huge forehands, pretty similar games in a way, but yeah, Fritz is the younger player. Probably has a little bit more upside right now, but Khachanov did just win 6-4, 6-2, 6-3. So against Merzek to get to the quarterfinals. So good result for Khachanov. I wouldn't feel super comfortable if I was Fritz, but yeah, that's definitely a winnable match for Fritz and to get to the semifinals where he will most likely play Carlos Alcaraz. Let's just be honest. Carlos Alcaraz beats Rublev after dropping the first set. Rublev played a good match, tight set. Alcaraz was up in that first set tiebreak, and then Rublev came back and stole it away. But it is, I say at every tournament, it's just crazy to watch Alcaraz at 22 have the authority that I feel like we all have on him of being able to win matches when he's down. His upset factor is extremely low, getting lower. So yeah, and Rublev, just really gets kind of stuck in that fourth round of these majors where he can't beat a guy like Alcaraz. So tough for Rublev, but Alcaraz on grass right now might be the hardest out in tennis, so can't really blame him. But semifinals, I'm predicting Alcaraz versus Fritz and Sinner versus Djokovic on the men's, and those would be incredible semifinals. And that's kind of where we would have predicted the tournament was going before the tournament started, I think. So the tournament now has a ton of news. Unfortunately, Dimitrov pulling out, going up 2-0 versus Sinner. Does that mean Sinner's shaken? Does that mean Sinner's not confident? What does that mean? I don't know what it means, but I think it shows how good Dimitrov is, and it shows that Sinner is not invincible on this surface. So we'll see what Shelton can do. But Djokovic is playing good. He's playing clutch tennis, but you got to be clutch. You got to have, I think, 1 majors at this point to beat him in the big moments. So those like essentially 2 guys in the field who can do that, Sinner and Alcaraz. But if Sinner and Djokovic play, it's like Sinner hasn't beaten Djokovic on this surface, and he also hasn't made the final Wimbledon, let alone win it. So Djokovic is going to have a lot of cards up his sleeve if they play in the semifinal. So let's wait to see if that happens. Okay, let's go to the women's draw in the quarterfinals. Put it on the screen here. Sabalenka versus Sigmund. Sabalenka comes through Mertens in 2 sets. Sigmund beats Sierra in 2 as well. I believe I predicted both of those. Anisimova wins over Noskova in 3 sets, which I predicted as well. And Pavlyuchenkova. So that's Anisimova sneaky. Like we said, there will be a new winner at Wimbledon this year. And I think Sabalenka is winning that match. And I think Anisimova is winning that match. That would be an amazing semifinal matchup on the top. Andreeva versus Bencic. Unbelievable matchup there. The old vet, the mother, Bencic, the power Swiss precision player versus Andreeva, the Russian teenage sensation. That one's a hard one to pick. I feel like Andreeva has just got the winning in her DNA now and in her psyche like Alcaraz does, where that's just what's going to happen. So she beats Bencic, in my opinion. That's my pick there. Just I feel like the Cinderella run has gone on a long time. You're coming up against the 7th seed Andreeva, and that's going to be tough. And then you got Swiatek beating Tauson 6-4, 6-1. So Swiatek saying, remember me, I should be higher than the 8th seed, and I think she should. So she'll play Samsonova. Now I'm picking Swiatek, maybe to come out of that half. So that's another great matchup, Samsonova versus Swiatek. I predict Swiatek versus Andreeva and Anisimova versus Sabalenka on the top half there. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts below. The women's matchups in the quarterfinals, the men's matchups in the quarterfinals. Let me know your thoughts on the Dimitrov situation, Sinner getting through, Djokovic, Minaur, Alcaraz, Rublev. Let me know. But that is a preview and prediction of the quarterfinals and a reaction to the heartbreak on center court today. Tennis is brutal. Tennis is beautiful. We've got lots of stuff coming at you from the podcast. Check the podcast link below for an interview with Carson Branstein coming up, Canadian sensation who is climbing the ranks and qualified for Wimbledon this year. Lost to Sabalenka round 1. It's all happening here on the site. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing, and we will see you next time on the show.